But sadly, let's get right into it with the Chicago Bears. They go in, oh, they'll go into, they go to Soldier Field and lose 38-20 to the Packers. I mean, that's closer than the game honestly was.
Yeah.
It was ugly. First of all, they were only down, what, 3 going into, was it 3 going into halftime or 4? I think it was 4. I think they had 2 field goals.
Yeah,
it was 10-6.
10-6. Yeah.
So you're like, okay, we got through the first half there. Maybe we'll get better. Luckily, we were only down that much. And then right away, the Packers just stormed down the field in the the second half and get a quick touchdown there. A crazy stat I did see, all last season, they had 1 touchdown in the first drive all season. And then they do it the first drive with Jordan Love. That was not fun. Before you get into whatever the Packers, I'm going to talk about the Bears. O-line stunk. Awful. At any time, he was always he had no time to throw the ball. Justin was just, he had no time to do anything. You can't really blame it on Justin Fields, but also he didn't throw the ball great either. DJ Moore. Went out, got DJ Moore, this and that. He's supposed to be this great wide receiver. We get 2 targets to DJ Moore, which just makes absolutely no sense. The play calling was ugly. A lot of dump downs, really nothing down the field. I think they only had one. I think they had 2 touchdowns, but the 1 touchdown meant nothing at the end there. Yeah, because at this point, there's not going to be any changes made. I don't really know what's going to be of this year. If they keep playing like they did on Sunday, it's going to be a long season. Because I don't even say this in a bad way, but like the Packers aren't that good to go into Chicago and beat you that badly. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying they're not better than the Bears or whatever, but at least it'd be a game in Chicago, because the next time you play them is like week, I think, 18 in Green Bay. So it's not going to get any easier playing them. I'm frustrated. I feel like I know Eddie Barstool said this. It's like you found out you got cheated on, because we were told in the offseason we made all these moves in the offensive line and we got wide receivers, and it did not look any better than it did the last game they played last season.
Yeah, I think that like there's a lot of ways to look at this, and obviously like I'll go into some of the Packers stuff I saw, but like I think Justin Fields' like longest pass was 23 yards. Okay, one pass, or as long as 23 yards. There was very, very few that he threw more than 10 yards. And here's what I don't understand entirely. Like, it's bad play calling, don't get me wrong. Like Luke Getsy, that's just bad play calling. But is it bad play calling because they worry about his ability to throw the ball that far, or is it just bad play calling? And like that's what, like, I think the biggest thing,
it was bad play calling on Sunday. I don't know if it's gonna get better, but it's the same thing as last year. It's just a bunch of little passes and checking down and this and that. It's like I'm so tired of that.
Yeah, and also like zero design runs for one of the top 3 running quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, he had no time to do anything. He had no time to do anything.
Yeah, and I think they did the right thing in, in their first round draft pick, but like that's going to take time to pan out. And my worry for you guys is that like you said, DJ Moore non-existent. Chase Claypool is awful. Chase Claypool is so bad. And he looked like he had zero interest in blocking in those like screen plays.
Oh, if you look back at some of the plays, it was no interest, and that's been a horrible trade since it happened. And it just seems like there's no effort. He didn't want to be known as a reserve, I heard, before the game, so they made sure that they had enough spots to make sure he was known as the starter, even though you don't deserve that right now. It's just it's frustrating. It's sad as a Bears fan because it's just the first week.
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets better, but
and I will say this as far as I the Packers are still like kind of who I thought they were going to be. I do think it's a little bit after seeing that with
they have a good defense. They do have a good defense. I'll say that.
The defense is very good. The defense is a top right now, probably a top 5 defense. The offensive line is where I was probably the most impressed. Is like that's a top 5 offensive line, and if they can stay healthy, like at least give Jordan Love and everybody said, well, Jordan Love. I mean, he still threw for 245 yards with his number 1 wide receiver out. So there's something to be said about that. But obviously it's a kid making his second NFL start. It's not going to be pretty. It's not like I don't know if people were expecting him to come out and beat Aaron Rodgers, but like that clearly wasn't the case. But it doesn't have to be. I thought for the situation, 15 of 27 is not great, but it felt like it was a really slow start for him at quarterback. And then like you said earlier, the second half is when they kind of turned it on. And it's one of those things where like, it's just positive to see a kid that had a lot of question marks. Let's be honest. I mean, we've been talking about it since the day he was drafted. And like, was it a stretch? Did they, move up too high to get him? But at the end of the day, he had to go prove it. And, it's a good start for his first, full-time gig as the quarterback. And, I still don't think this team is going to win much more than 9 games, but I think it's a little bit more plausible now that they get to that 8 wins. But, you got to be able to go out and duplicate it. You came out and you played your second half the way you did, but now you have to go out and do this in Atlanta next week and then Detroit the week after. Like at the end of the day, the NFL season is a grind, and he's got to be able to go out and do this on a consistent basis and not just throw for 245 and then come out on Sunday and throw for 110. So
the Bears have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. I think I just saw they're 3-point underdogs, which
Tampa looked good yesterday.
They look good, but I think it's a game you can kind of maybe bounce back. I don't know. I'm very nervous. I'm nervous.
It's not like they're marching into San Francisco or Kansas City.
We got the Chiefs here in a few weeks or whatever. We don't have to worry about that for now. So get back on track, get back to 1-1, and let's see if they can do something. But we'll talk more about the Bears and Tampa Bay on the podcast. Because like I said, we'll go over, we'll recap the NFL on here. We'll give you a week by week recap, and then we'll keep it local. And then on the podcast, we will get more into a preview and like our pick show that we always do on there. So make sure you check that out.